Roger Elmer.
Thank you. Roger Elmer, and then George back.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And can I also add my thanks to our rapporteur? I am particularly pleased to see that he is emphasising the need for proper impact assessments before the removal of asbestos is undertaken. As he has rightly pointed out, the underlying break point in this debate has been the question whether white asbestos or chrysotile is to be treated in the same way and carries the same risks as blue and brown asbestos. There is no doubt that blue and brown asbestos are extremely dangerous. The question arises whether white asbestos should be treated in the same way. And I should say that I shall be obliged to vote against many of the amendments which seem in their own terms to be perfectly reasonable and fair because they fail to distinguish between the two types of asbestos. The problem is we've got some scientific reports which appear to disagree. I've been quoting the British government's Meldrum report, which identifies no measurable health risks from white asbestos, or a more recent health and safety report of 2006, where they have a histogram. I circulated that piece of paper to colleagues at a previous meeting, showing high risks from blue and brown asbestos and effectively zero risks from white asbestos. I do have, Madam Chairman, a new report which is at this moment being published in the journal Critical Reviews in Toxicology. For those who wish to know, it's volume 43, issue 2. And I have taken the liberty of bringing 20 copies of this document, which runs to 64 pages, and making them available. I think they are at the exit, so that anybody who wants to see them can do so. If I can crave your patience just to offer you a couple of lines from the abstract. Chrysotile is rapidly attacked by the acid environment of the macrophage, falls apart in the lung into short fibres. Inhalation toxicity studies of chrysotile demonstrate that the long fibres are rapidly cleared from the lung, are not translated to the pleural cavity, and do not initiate fibrogenic response. They do not result in interstitial fibrosis or pleural inflammation. This report, which is produced by experts from the European Union, from America, Canada, Switzerland and Mexico, in fact makes the point that there is no measurable risk from white asbestos. I do hope colleagues will refer to that. It does raise the interesting question as to why there are a number of reports, which I've quoted, which show no risk for white asbestos, and some others which do. My colleague, Derek Clark, drew attention to Professor Julian Peto's report in 1997, where he made the absurd statistical error of concluding that because 90% of asbestos in use was white, therefore 90% of cancers caused by asbestos must be caused by white asbestos. In other words, he was assuming the conclusion he was trying to reach. Since then, I think there have been two factors which have combined to demonise white asbestos. One is our general risk aversion.
Chers collègues, est-ce que vous voulez bien
Please, could you talk about the compromise amendment?
compromise amendment, which is the point on the agenda?
Well, indeed, but I am explaining why I take this view of the compromise
yes, but
amendment.
at that time...
Yes, I will therefore abbreviate my remarks, Madam Chairman, and I appreciate your courteous intervention. But if I can just say that I am very concerned at the extensive lobbying on behalf of American litigation attorneys and the ambulance-chasing lawyers, which seems to be a major factor in this case. The point arises that because the amendments fail, for the most part, to distinguish between the different types of asbestos, two of which are extremely toxic and one of which is not toxic at all, it is therefore difficult to support those amendments, and I regret to say I shall be voting against them. And I would urge any other colleagues who are prepared to take a balanced and rational view of the issue to join me in opposing them. Thank you.
Merci.